Well, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It is 8 o'clock on a Monday night. So you already know what that is. It's Fall into Victory podcast. And I'm your host, Teacher Michelle. I am so excited and I have been excited for the entire month of March. Why? Because it's Women's History Month. Every day is Women's Month. Every day. Every single day of the year, 365 days of the year is Women's History Day. But this month, I'm so glad that they have selected this month for me to highlight some special women. So, as we close out the series Unmuted, The Power of a Woman's Voice, I cannot be more ecstatic than I am to have my sis, Dr. Shedia Lauger, on. I am, wait, is it, yes. Okay. So, I am, this is my hosting partner too in crime. I must say that. So if I start dancing, she'll definitely start dancing with me. I already know. But no, I'm super excited. I could not even like imagine someone else closing out Women's History Month but you. So thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Just don't forget to like, share, and comment. But I have to not wait long because I need to write an IEP. So I need Shadia to Shadia, please introduce yourself to the people yet again. You're a two-time visitor, but introduce yourself again.
Yes, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to spin the block. Good night, everyone. I'm Shedia Lauger. I am offering and extending gratitude to you, Tidra, for sharing this platform with me, for your invitation. About myself, I I don't thrive in this area. I'll do better. I think the way people get to experience me in this earth is as a mother and a wife. I am a daughter, a sister, a friend. Those are titles that I take very seriously. I think in my professional experience, I'm a leader in healthcare. I'm a professor. I am a researcher and a philanthropist. And these are things that God has graced me to do with gifts to do. And so those are the ways that people who would be listening right now may have experienced me in the world. I love to dance. I like to sing. I can't sing well, but I do enjoy doing it. And I love to travel, and not like, ooh, like bougie travel, like in a village with someone's grandma, like living in like a normal life, going to the market kind of travel, a sociologist, anthropologist heart type
I
of
love
travel.
that.
That's
I
me.
love that. Listen, I don't even think that you introduced yourself that way last time. Like, come on. Like you set the standard for Women's History Month. I love it. I
Thank
really
you.
do. Um, let for 5 seconds, can we just talk about what you do as a leader in healthcare? Because I just think that it's so important for people to know that you don't just have to be a nurse, you don't just have to be a doctor, but you are a Black woman leader in healthcare. Could you just, if you don't mind sharing, you don't have to tell us specifically what you do, but what is it that you do? If you want to give us like a
Yes.
generalization.
So a lot of my work revolves around people and culture and strategy. That is like the heartthrob of the way that I do work. And so I pay attention to the way our patients, our families, our workforce is experiencing our organization and our enterprise. I do lots and lots of education, which affords me other opportunities to do research. I'm actually a co-author, first author, which is really big in research world, for a paper that I hope to be published this year. And that is coming out of some of the observations and research we were able to do in our NICU space, which is neonatal infant intensive care units, an intensive care unit. And so actually one of the things that I really enjoy about my work and other passions as explored is the ability to help people think about healthcare careers outside of the traditional nurse doctor that you shared, because chances are the job that you do now exists in a hospital 9 times out of 10. So consider
I
it
love
healthcare.
that. Yes,
That is
yes.
the work that I do. Yes,
I
it's a large,
love
large
that.
part of it.
Yeah, I love that. I wanted you to share it because I remember I was talking to you and I was like, wait a minute, you don't work there no more, but you do this. You're like, girl, I've been here for like X years. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just think that we don't see, and I'm not going to even use the word, like black women, but I don't think that we see a lot of women outside of like, like the nurses role. I think the nurse,
Mhm,
everyone always wants to be a nurse, and I don't think that we really see women in leadership in healthcare. I absolutely, when I say I love that, I love that. And
mhm,
I think that it's like, I kind of pulled that out also, just so we could talk about what it looks like boldly speaking as a black woman in those spaces, knowing when to speak up, knowing when to let me just hold on for a second, let me hear them out first before I just get them. But
mhm.
what does it look like as as a woman speaking in those spaces?
It's challenging. I would definitely say that I often tell my students, so I had a very long and fruitful career in academia. And I would tell my students, particularly students who were Black, Indigenous, people of color, women, that intersection and in the way that
Yeah.
that shows up, I would have conversations about the experiences of being the first and being the only, and
Wow.
the way that the weight of being the first one to have done something, or the first,
Wow.
insert the demographic that you have, or you're in a space and you're the only. I'm the only person of color.
Mm,
I'm the only woman. And really, the weight of that, the tension between I am representing something that isn't present and I am representing something that isn't present, and the way
yeah.
that that puts you in a position to constantly think about when to offer voice and when to offer silence.
Wow.
And it can be particularly challenging because I know that um, my experiences as a Black woman, I bring with me to every experience that I have. And so sometimes the decision to be silent means that I am silencing the possibility of a different experience of being considered in that space. And so
Wow.
very often, especially when I started my career and I ascended to leadership, I was in spaces where I'd be like, and have we thought about this? Have we considered that? And it was very, very challenging. I remember
Yeah.
one of my very first pull tension experiences in a role of leadership. I had acquired a position from someone who transitioned to a different role, and they identify as a white woman. And one of my very trusted colleagues to this day, and she was in the position before me, and then I got into the position, and I got to see a lot of the documentation, our data. I love data because data points are important. And I realized that there was some inequity in the way that things were functioning.
Yeah.
And so I proposed to my leader at the time some restructuring for the way that things were functioning, particularly around our allocation of funds.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, I'm noticing, these kinds of things about our budget and the way that it's functioning and what we're supporting and what we're not. And my leader, who white male, he said, oh wow. Right, the numbers don't lie. Jay-Z said it, and so he saw the numbers, and I'm like, these numbers are telling a story. And I remember I had a conversation with the person who was in the role before me, and her first position was offense, and she said,
Mm,
I'm not, this, I'm not that, and I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And I said, I know that you show up with character and integrity to serve. I've
yeah.
experienced you in that way. But
Yeah.
guess what? I was born a Black girl. I am lived my life as a Black girl. I am now a Black woman, and I will consistently see the world through that lens. And
Yeah.
you don't have the opportunity to do that. I can only call you into awareness of an experience that you're not having. You'll have to do the
Wow.
work to be intentional about considering perspectives of lives that you haven't lived,
Yeah.
but I'm going to always show up with this perspective. And so I am noticing where I am absent in the way that we spend
Wow.
money. I am noticing where I'm absent. The people like me, people that I love, people that I'm connected to, people that I worship with on Sundays, that if they were to go through our system, they would be missed. And I
Yeah.
don't think that it's an intentional harm. I think that it's a blind spot that you have because of your lived experiences limit you from experiencing and noticing some of these deficits that exist. And so I think that I don't know where this story came from, but I think that part of knowing when to speak and when not to speak, or just the experience of having to advocate for a different possibility for people to
Yeah.
consider a new story that they've never been told. Even in um, our healthcare system, when we think about, there was a lots of conversations around patients missing their appointments. How could they miss their appointment? How could they miss their appointment? I was like, well, people got jobs, people forget.
Yeah.
People rely on public transportation, and sometimes
Yeah.
that's fleet. Sometimes that doesn't work out. People have children, and childcare doesn't work out. And I started to storytell. Let's imagine the life of our patient population that is different than ours. When I have a doctor's appointment, I take off from work, I get in my car, I go, and that is my experience, and that is a lot of privilege. But not everyone has the ability to just take off of work and continue to get paid. That
Yeah.
they are be able to, things work out with their insurance and it's fine, and they get in a car and it takes them from one spot to the next. There's so many things that are different about the way that people experience this world, and if we aren't offering voice to elevate stories
So
as
good.
scholarship and as data points, we miss the opportunity to serve God's children in the fullness of
Yeah.
our communities.
That
That
was
was a
so good.
bad
That, that
tangent,
was,
big
that was
tangent.
very purposeful because we're talking about silent survival and strategy tonight. So that was literally that. I'm serious. That was a good opener.
Thank
I
you.
really love it. I love. Come on, just keep talking. It was amazing.
Thank you. So I did not prepare to share that story, but your question really created that memory, really pulled on that memory. And I think about so many opportunities that I've had in my life to be able to help well-intended people see the experiences of someone else.
Wow.
A lot of the work that I do a lot of equity work. And the reality is, the way that equity functions in general, it's recognizing the individual barriers, the circumstances, the challenges that people experience to prevent them from being able to reach a goal. I'll use the example of language other than English, what we call in healthcare like LOE.
Yeah.
And so these are patients who, their families, they speak languages other than English as their primary language. Making sure that we have services, that people are receiving documentation, that they are
Yeah.
receiving updates on their care in a language that they speak. And um, one of my mentors shared with me about a decade ago at this point, um, equality is making sure that everyone gets a pair of shoes.
Hmm.
Equity is making sure it's their size. And I feel like
Wow.
that is the space where I use my voice, is not that we're just providing services by way of equality. Everyone's getting something, but that is their size, that it is intentional, that it is thoughtful about the way that people are experiencing our world. When I plan events, I think about the physical space. How do people enter? If someone had a physical disability, what would this experience be like for them? If someone doesn't eat pork or beef, or they have a nut allergy, I'm thoughtful about the way I can consider and construct a menu. When I speak to people in presentations, I use closed captions. There is a
Wow.
power of leveraging your voice to be able to improve the quality of life that someone else has. And that's when I make a decision to speak, not for myself, but because if I am silent in a moment with knowledge of an experience that many people in the room don't have, we miss out on the opportunity to best serve people. So,
Girl, keep talking.
you're so funny. You're so
I'm
funny.
sitting here like no,
I
I
don't
think
know how we got here.
I know. I don't know either. I asked you a question. I don't even remember what question it was, but I just think what it was so profound about that is literally is the care.
Mhm.
The woman that walks in the room with confidence to care for others. Like literally, that's what I literally heard. And I think sometimes as women, when we walk in a room, we don't consider others. We just want to get our point across. Even if we're confident, we want to just say what we have to say, and we want people to feel the way we feel, and we want people to come where we are and meet us where we are. But what you just said, first off, what you just said was differentiated instruction in my terms. That's what you just said. I provide differentiated instruction for everyone. That's what you just said in my terms, right? So I'm
Yeah.
thinking about when I stand in the classroom and I have 9 students that all have 9 classifications, and I have to provide and meet them somewhere. That's literally what you just said. as a woman in leadership, as a Black woman in leadership, I literally come down and make sure that I meet the needs of the people that sometimes get overlooked. I meet
Mhm.
the needs of the people that get just flat out ignored. I meet the
Mhm.
needs of people that may be there present in the room, but we just kind of maybe again overlook them, or we say, oh, okay, and keep it
Mhm.
moving. So I don't even know what else to say, girl. I feel like you just got me. Like that was
Oh, wow.
absolutely phenomenal.
Thanks. It's thanks.
Let me ask you a question. What
Yeah.
does it take to think that way, to stay that way, to put others, because what you're saying also is that I put others before me when I walk in the room. So when I have to walk in the room and if I have to share Jesus or whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm putting others before me. So what does that take? What does it, or what is it that what hold on, I'm gonna get it. I got it. I'm like, what does that take? That's number 1. And what is your secret sauce? What is your secret weapon? What is it that you do to prepare yourself to walk in these spaces and operate in that manner?
Awesome. Okay, I just wrote it down so I can reference it back when I start rambling. So when I think about what does it take? So part of my dissertation, so part of the research that I did examined the experiences of Black women in at predominantly white institutions of higher education. Lots of things happened in that research. I went in with what I thought the outcome would be, but something that I discovered, came to my awareness, I shouldn't say discovered, when I did this research was the way that people with who've experienced hardship, challenges, marginalized identities, the way they showed up in space and position of power was more often than not with a heart posture of servitude.
Wow.
And there's this term called Ubuntu. It's a West African term. It's used. Some people, it looks a little bit like a clover, 4-leaf clover. Folks do draw it differently in different spaces, but it means I am because you are. And
Yeah.
really, what the term speaks to is that my humanity is wrapped up in your humanity. I am only human because you are as well.
Yeah.
And it comes along with this story of this guy, this anthropologist who's studying with some children in a village. And on the last day of his study, he brings a basket of goodies and he invites them to, he says, I'm going to do a competition. The first person who gets to this basket of goodies gets to keep it for themselves. And he does, I imagine. And your mark, get set, go. And what happens surprises him that these children hold hands and they run to this basket together and they arrive there together. And then they enjoy these treats together. And he
Wow.
asked one of the children that were a part of this experiment, why didn't you just run fast by yourself so that you can get this all for yourself? And he said, what joy would it be? What goodness would it be for me to have all of this by myself as the winner with no one to share it
Wow.
with? And I think about that in my experiences as a professional, and it came up thematically in the research that was done that I conducted about 4 or 5 years ago. Um, that women, particularly Black women, which was the subject of the study, described this responsibility that they felt to give to communities, to think of young Black girls and young Black boys. And if they grew up poor, they were intentional about thinking about low socioeconomic status. If they had a
Yeah.
disability, they were intentional about thinking about how do I make space for someone who has a disability or is a
Mhm.
caregiver. And so they brought all their pain with them, all the things that they have experienced and hurt along the way that no one made space for, or not enough people made space for, that when they had an opportunity to sit in power in an agency, they made space for it. And that's how I make the decision, is that when I've experienced life as a college student, what were the things that I needed? When I was in
Yeah.
K-12, what were the barriers that I had that I now have position, power, agency, authority, titled leadership to be able to change policies,
Mm.
practices, procedures to be able to change what life is, the way that people experience life. And sometimes it's such a small change that folks are like, oh, I never considered that. And it's like, yeah, because it never hurt you. And it can be
Mm.
very, very challenging for people to imagine systems that serve because they're not being harmed by the systems that exist. And so that's what positions me to operate in intentionality and to think of others. Because the reality is that, again, there are people that I love and people with similar identities to me that will never occupy the space that I'm in. And so, what am I
Right.
doing while I'm there to make space? Maybe not, maybe for my peer group, it's too late, but they're generations behind me. And I
Yeah.
have an opportunity to not just make a change for them, but to change their family tree in the way that that happens, the way that they experience life. And so that's what motivates me to do this work, to offer voice in the most necessary ways, but not just to complain. I'm like a
Yeah.
very, I'm a very solutions oriented. My husband doesn't always enjoy that about me, but I am solutions oriented in the way that I approach conflict or confusion. I love systems, creating systems, policies, strategy, which is why, and I do the work that I do. Um, but I guess to answer the original question, I'm so glad I wrote it down. That's what keeps me going. And I think the secret sauce, I know I'm such a rambler. And I think the
No, it's
secret
fine.
sauce, the secret sauce is exactly what that young boy shared in, this experiment by the anthropologist for Ubuntu, is that what good is it for me to ascend to leadership, to sit in a decision-making room if I'm leaving all of myself and the
Yeah.
people that when they see me, they're like, when I walk around in my enterprise, a lot of the people of color are in hierarchically lower positions, maybe ancillary roles and some other, maybe um, in support roles, in some other support roles.
Mhm.
And I always, they love me so well because I always say hello. I always offer respect.
Yep.
Their presence, good morning, how you doing? Come on, shirt, come on, shoes. And they'll say, they better not talk to me however they want to. I know somebody on the top floor. Like, there is this um community that it is enough that I'm going there.
Yeah.
It is enough that I sit in the room for them.
Yeah.
And so when I speak to the experiences of people who have trusted me to be their voice in a space that they know that they may never access in their lifetime, I can't waste it.
Wow.
And so that's what fuels my work. That's what fuels my voice in professional spaces. And I bring honesty, always in care, always packaged in progression. There's this term called teacher not gonna have me back, y'all. Summer blitz.
Girl, listen, you know, because you
There's this
killing it right
term
now.
called interest conversion. And essentially what it is when organizations or entities essentially they engage in something because it benefits them, but it makes
Yeah.
them look good. And so someone may say, like, oh, we donated all this money to HBCUs. Now, they don't really care about HBCUs and like what that donation actually does in real life, but they can say, like, oh, I did this thing, I
Yeah.
donated to HBCUs. And they superficially, they're like, oh, this is good. But like impact wise, there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I do work, when I make a proposal for something new, for a new system, new policy to consider a pathway program, I do a lot of grant writing. I'm like, hey, can I get some money to do this really cool thing to impact these lives? I am constantly bringing the interest of the organization to this conversation. And
Yeah.
so it is, this is great for you because, and I am motivated because this is great for the people who are counting on me. And
Yeah.
so I'm entangling, don't tell Pastor Ted because I know we untangling, but I am I'm not, I would say I'm tethering. I am tethering the interests of the organization with the interests of the people.
Yeah.
And it takes
Yeah.
a special lived experience to understand interests of organization and interests of people, because more often than not, the people who get to make decisions about the interests of the organization don't look like the people that I intend to serve.
Yeah. Something you said was so good. I just want to highlight it because I can't even say anything about it because I feel like I can't go backwards with, with anything that you said. But you said when you walk in a room, of course, this is me just paraphrasing, but you said when you walk in a room, you feel as though you just can't waste basically your breath when you walk in a room because you
Yeah.
think about all those people basically, honestly, that you're representing, but you're just still connected to. Because you know what I mean? Like, even though you're not directly connected to them, you are connected to them. Because right now, what you're doing is you're walking into a room and representing them. You're
Mhm.
representing the lower class. You're representing the unheard. You're representing the muted. You're representing the women. Honestly, you're representing the
Mhm.
men that don't get to have this experience or don't get to experience what others experience in these types of rooms. I think that was so good, girl. I don't even have nothing else to ask you. I'm not even joking. I'm like, you just took it a whole nother, like, just a whole nother way. Um,
No,
girl,
sorry.
I don't even know what to ask
Sorry.
you. No, 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 nope.
Okay.
You talked about silence. You talked about survival. You talked about strategy. It's over, y'all.
Oh goodness. And
No,
nothing that I shared I wanted to share tonight. So I think that it's
I mean, it was absolutely amazing. But let me ask you a question. Has Doctor, or let's say even prior to Doctor, has Shadia always showed up in these areas? Like in these spaces, has Shadia always showed up like this?
I would say so.
Wow.
Yes. I would confidently say yes.
Wow.
This is the way that I've been. This is who God has called me to be.
Wow.
Um I grew up in a household. I grew up in a single parent household, though I had the influence um, and the presence of my parents. The household that I grew up in was a single parent household.
Yeah.
And my mom couldn't be everywhere. And
Right.
so, something that she would always say to me is, don't come back in here telling me that people did this and they said this to you and they did that to you, because I'm going to ask you, what did you say? And what did you
Wow.
do? And there was this responsibility that I had that I don't know if my mom intentionally offered this to me or gave this to me, but I felt like I had to be assertive in a moment. I had to be my own advocate in a moment.
Yeah.
That the expectation was for me to not be silent in a space.
Wow.
If I see something that someone shouldn't be doing, if someone is saying something to me that's inappropriate, doing something to me that's inappropriate, that I have the authority, the power and agency to call that. Um,
Wow.
Adult, and this was very non-traditional um, for the time that I grew up, but that is the way that my mom raised us to be. Um, don't let people pull a fast one on you. Don't let people take advantage of you.
Yeah.
That was her position. And I think a lot of it was because she couldn't be everywhere. And so she's
Yeah.
like, how do I equip my children to be able to defend themselves and protect themselves? And so I've had that, and even feeling protective of my siblings. I still feel protective of my siblings. There's a video on the internet, right? Um, that it's like, when people say, and no one's coming to save you, I keep my mouth shut because my sister's definitely coming to save me. So I don't know. And my sister and I were laughing about that because she's like, I don't know about y'all, but I got an older sister and she don't play about me. And so this idea of I don't play about my sister, I don't play about my friends, I don't play about my husband, I don't play about my daughter. And so there's this part of me that is a fighter. And I think I learned the lessons that I had to learn along the way were a little bit opposite than some other people. I had to
Mhm.
learn to be quiet. I really had to sit and recognize that every fight is not my fight.
Yeah.
That there was an exhaustion to be in everyone's champion.
Yeah.
And also recognizing, to our conversation earlier, that I'm still a Black woman. And
Mhm.
so I'm not always protected in a way that allows for me to be a fighter.
Yeah.
Um, that stereotypes that exist around what it means to be assertive or what it means to, um, be difficult, or some of these labels that are used to
Yeah.
describe um, productive behavior in the wrong bodies, is something that I had to be mindful of. knowing when it was time to um, fight differently. Maybe in silence. Maybe it's time to write a letter. Maybe it's time to have a coalition. Maybe it's time to mobilize someone else who is the right package to offer the same message
Yeah.
to be received. And so I've showed up this way my entire life. And I've learned to be more strategic and more intentional.
That part.
Um, there are many a fights that I've taken on that weren't mine, and
Good.
also there wasn't structure in place to support me
Yeah.
in the fight. And so while I may have won battles and got quick wins, I lost things as social capital in certain spaces because
Yeah.
of that. So um, being intentional in that way, like folks would know Rosa Parks. Like, we don't like Rosa Parks. You know Rosa Parks? She's on the bus. She was like, no, I'm not going to the back. Everyone knows Rosa Parks. Um, and they think about it in, oh, poor you, Tidra. You got to come on these random journeys with me. So everyone
No,
knows Rosa
no,
Parks.
girl.
And she is, an icon, a civil rights icon, really. But Rosa Parks wasn't the first and or only Black woman, to sit on a bus and someone said, go to the back. And she was like,
Let
no.
the people know.
And so it is, I mean, I think about there was, so not the first, right? Not the first person to do it, but somehow, there is this rise to fame and notoriety, and a woman that I've never met, and probably, has been singed into my education, and I know her, and she's a household name. And the reality is that there was structure around what Rosa Parks did. Her voice, her defiance, her advocacy was planned. They had bail money for her. They were
Right.
ready. They were
Right.
prepared to support her with
Right.
the legal fees. Like, it wasn't this random act. There was strategy in the way that
Right.
Rosa Parks operated in this place of defiance, of really being a change agent,
Yeah.
and, a mother of the movement in many ways, but she wasn't the first. And I think about, I think her name's Claudette
Coven.
Colvin. See, I gotta say, yeah, Colvin,
Yep.
yes. See,
No,
I gotta say,
you know
I
what?
think about.
This is why I'm like, tell them, because I have to tell my kids this. My kids are like, Rosa Parks. I'm like, no, before Rosa, there was Claudette Colvin. And they're like, no
Yes.
way. So they did a Black History presentation, but I have to always have an exemplar. And my
Mhm,
exemplar was on Claudette Colvin because I was trying to tell them, like, no, Claudette didn't represent the culture, right? Because she was younger, she was lighter, she was pregnant.
mhm,
And there's no way that the NAACP was going to have her out there speaking on our behalf as the masses. So that's
mhm.
why Rosa got picked. I tell my kids that was
We flowing,
the good
we
ghetto
flowing
way. I
and
just
going,
told them.
sis. We're doing the things, and so I was even I was like, I think her name is. See, that's a problem too. And I'm glad that you really on your Zoom, because you were able to add voice to her story. But I think what you said, she was pregnant, she was younger. Like, there are these things that you're like, okay, well, who does the talking? Who
Yeah,
is the
so good.
champion for the fight? Um, and who gets us the win? And
Yeah,
sometimes it's
so
not the
good.
person with the biggest voice. It is a package. And
Yeah,
I learned that along the way, because I started off rah rah, like really
yeah,
rah rah, but
that's so good.
also just, with the things that had been instilled in me earlier on. But as I matured in my career and in life, I realized that sometimes I need to be the silent person and set up someone else to be able to be the Rosa Parks. Sometimes,
You know,
you know, I am the Claudette Colvin. I'm not the person, I'm not the package to deliver this message, to be the face of a movement, to be the
wow,
voice that changed something. That I can position myself to support, to brainstorm, to offer gifts, to be a part of the
so
strategy,
good.
to do the legal work, to bring you a meal. Like, maybe that's where
Yeah,
my gifting is coming in. And just because I can, doesn't mean I'm the best person for it. And
yeah,
that's
so
where
good.
I had to learn along the way, that silence is necessary, that it doesn't have to be me every time to say the things. So,
Well, she done did it again, y'all. I don't got nothing else to say. No, I do. I'm just playing. No, so like, I don't even feel like I can comment on anything you're saying because what you're saying is just what you're saying. I'm not even joking. But you know what I did here? With the last thing you said, I really heard like just knowing who you are. Knowing, and we talked about this over the last month about knowing what season you're in,
Yeah.
knowing who you are, and knowing when you're walking in these spaces, maybe I, like you said, I'm not the Claudette Colvin. I am the Rosa Parks, but maybe I'm the Rosa Parks and I'm not the Claudette Colvin, but it's just
Mhm.
knowing your identity and where you and who you are and where you are, right?
Yeah.
Because can I fulfill this in this season, right? Because I think a lot of things, comes into play as being a mother, as being a wife. Am I able to take on this task, go in this room and light a fire and then execute the fire? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? After the fire, but or whatever. So you just basically said knowing who you are, literally standing firm in who you are, but that the one thing you said was just so good, just knowing who you are because you said I had to learn how to be silent because I am a fire starter, right?
Mhm.
Pretty much as you said, I'm a fire starter everywhere I go.
Mhm.
This is what I learned. So now it's kind of like one of those reverse things where going in a room and knowing when to be silent or knowing that I belong in the room. I'm supposed to be in the room, but just knowing when to speak and when not to speak, when to speak up and when not to speak up, and when not to say anything or whatever it was. So that was really good. Um, I definitely have to ask you this question. So I have two more questions for you, but I definitely have to ask you this question. I feel like I already know what you're going to say, but
Oh
who
gosh.
is your favorite woman from the Bible? But let me be because I already know who it is. But let me be let me be very strategic with my question now. Um, who is your favorite woman from the Bible? You could pick one of three that represents silence, that represented survival, or that represented strategy.
Still my favorite woman. Moses's mama is still my favorite. I think that she did all the things. She had her baby, she had Moses. She said, "Oh no, y'all not gonna kill my baby." And she was strategic. She made a basket. She put Moses in there, sent him down the river. Now I know y'all learned this in Vacation Bible School. If not, this is the Spark Notes. But she had Moses's older sister at you know kind of when they discover Moses at the end of the river, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, there's this baby here. I'll take him. I'll raise him as my own." And they're like, "Oh, would you need someone? Do you need me to get someone to come and help take care of this baby?" This is Moses's older sister. And they're like, "Yes, actually we do." And she goes and gets her mom to come and take care of her brother, who's this abandoned baby. So she had strategy, she had
Yeah,
wisdom.
so good.
Um, she could have said, "No, you're not taking my baby," and tried to fight off the people as
Right.
they came, or the warriors. That would have been a lost battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one way, and that's exactly what I was talking about before. That the ways of fighting has to change depending on the circumstances. And there's some times where the way that you fought before and won will cost you your life if you do it again when you don't have
Oh,
opportunity. And
girl.
so I love that she wasn't like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight them when they come to take my son." Like, now y'all both dead. So
Yeah,
that's not
right.
the
Right.
solution.
Right.
But this
So
idea
good.
of long range thinking, of putting a plan in motion, of being present to still have
So
an
good.
impact, to give your son life beyond you. And even if her plan didn't work out, where they're like, "No, we don't need someone to take care of him," the first part worked, and she was able to meet
Yeah.
the goal of giving her son longevity. And so yeah, definitely. She's still my girl. Um, and she still works in this context, which really just solidifies for me that she's really that girl.
No, I think that was so good. And you know what's crazy? I think that her, well, of course, her thoroughly thinking out her strategy did something for her seed.
Hmm.
He literally was what people say almost like a baby god, like literally, because Moses. I mean, okay, after Adam, right after no, okay, great, but here comes Moses, like literally because of his mom, he is who he is, because literally she had that strategy, and here he didn't. freed the slave. First off, he look, he had strategy, even though he did, in his circumstance. But
Yes.
I think that was so good, and I think that sometimes we forget the ones that are impacted by the moves that we make. That's all I was trying to
Mhm.
say for real.
Yes.
The moves that
Yeah.
we make, I think sometimes that we forget that it could either be a bust or it could be very successful. So imagine what you just said. That if she would have tried to fight them, she would have. Everybody would have been dead, and the plan
Yeah.
didn't go through as it was supposed to, go through. But here, he didn't because of her, strategic planning. Here, her son has made an impact on on the world. So, well,
Yeah.
biblical
Yeah,
biblical
definitely.
world, and even up today, because he's
Yeah,
just basically just yeah, he done wrote out what we doing right now, us
he
Israelites. But
did.
anyway,
He did.
no,
And you know
so
what's
that
so
was so
good?
good. Yeah,
And this is the I'm going to say one thing and move on is that like strategy essentially is functions as a bridge between that place of silence and the impact that you can have.
yeah,
And so
so
it's
good.
this place where you are thinking, you're being methodical, you're being slow, you're listening to the Holy Spirit, you're thinking about the consequences. Like, okay, if this happens, then this. I mean, that's strategic planning. I do it often. Okay, if we do this, well, this may be able to happen. Okay, well, that's not a good plan. Or if we do this, these people can get upset. There is a thoughtfulness, a methodical presence in the way that
Yeah,
strategy functions best and when it can have the most impact, which the most impact was him living, her getting to take care. And, strategy doesn't always go all the way out. But
yeah,
anyway,
no.
you back to you.
So, back to you now.
Back to you in the
No,
studio.
you're hilarious. This is funny, and the reason why. Okay, let me tell everyone why this is funny, because we have hosted a couple of events together. So this is why this is so funny to me, because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to say. Okay, all right, I'm only going to do it if we're together. But it's like, girl, you are literally hosting right now. Like, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I absolutely like. I'm sitting back and enjoying this because I really do like, this is you. You need to be in more spaces like this. I'm like, I'm sitting here saying, God, we need to multiply Shadia. Like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but we need to multiply this woman, because it's just like, if you can go, what everything that you said is professional for the professional setting, it's for the church setting as a woman in ministry. It is for the professional setting. You even said a lot of things, even about being a wife, if you even being a mother. So I just
Mhm.
think everything you said was just so good. But I just think it's funny because you're like, oh, just I'm sorry, thank you for journeying with me. No, girl, this is because this is really you, but you shy away from this being you. So that's the funny part. And I'm laughing because I'm only gonna host with you. Who you got to host
Yes.
with?
No, this is true.
But the funny part is, we just right now we're not going well together because I don't have nothing to say because you are really
No.
like shutting me up. But normally we host so well together, y'all. I'm so serious. Like when I say like I
Vibes.
we just got up there in front of the camera with microphones, and you couldn't even tell that we've never done it before together. I'm not even joking. I
Yes.
feel like I want to say we're a fan favorite, but I really want to say I really want to say we're a Kyle
Yeah.
favorite. Because he'll be like, you and Shadia.
Check
He'll be
this
like, oh yeah,
out.
just ask Shadia. But the funny part is, I can't even not say that we're not a fan favorite, because I felt like so many people after we hosted together, so many people just kept saying how well we just meshed
They
together. So
enjoyed us. Yeah, they enjoyed
yeah,
our
so
vibes together.
I think it's funny though. I feel like the roles are reversing right now, because you're really taking a lead, and I love every bit of this, just because I think that this is where you belong, in all honesty. I'm not even joking. So I just believe that your wisdom, your knowledge,
Speaks
it
first.
belongs, on a platform where you could just spread this, because I just think, again, even what you said, there is someone that is fighting on, what I mean, on my behalf or my son's behalf, because I know where you work, right? On my son's
Mhm.
behalf, or on my on my grandmother's behalf, or on my behalf. It's just amazing that there is someone of color, there's a woman of color that is fighting on my behalf, because she knows how I think, how I feel, what I've experienced, what I have not experienced. So that's just, when I say absolutely phenomenal, it is absolutely phenomenal. I'm not
Thank
even
you
joking.
so much.
So
Thank you,
thank
sis.
you. I'm not
Thank
even
you.
joking. I do want to end here because I feel like I could just, I'm not even joking. I'm sitting here and I feel like I could just let you go on and on and on. I am not like, I would love to take one of your classes if you're the professor because I can just sit here and listen to you. I'm serious. I'm so serious.
Thank
You
you.
make it so simple, but um knowing the different positions of authority you've been in and leadership you have been in, maybe when you were just starting out, or now that you have your doctorate, you said it's been like you not now, but you have it because it's been about you said 4 or 5 years. But I think because people respect your name when you got your doctor. When you just Shadia, they're like, oh hey Shadia, but when you're doctor, it's like Dr. Shadia. You know, they give you a little different tone in their voice. But just thinking about all the areas of influence you've been in, maybe the areas where you were just starting out, maybe where you are now, it doesn't matter, but a woman and you've been in education, so you know what that's like. You've been in higher ed, you know what that's like. I'm not sure your other, employments that you've had, but just again, thinking about the broad spectrum of your entire life, if you want to say, or you can pinpoint one area, but a woman with a voice is what? Can you tell us what is a woman with a voice?
A woman with a voice is actively creating space for other women to find their voice, use their voice. That a woman with a voice is unlocking doors for other people,
Love it.
that they are forging new space and they're showing up in spaces, but while they're there, they're making space for others.
Yeah.
Um, a woman with a voice is honest. Um, a woman with a voice is using her truth to remove shame and empathy, removing shame through empathy for someone else. Um, yeah, that's a woman, and a woman with a voice is powerful.
Yeah.
Um, that level of honesty is powerful because women birth nations.
Yeah.
Everyone, everyone here was born from a woman.
Yeah.
And so a woman who's using her voice is impacting an entire society through her sons and through her daughters because she's given life. And so she has an opportunity to change generations with her voice.
Yeah. That was so good. I think sometimes we forget that. I think we forget how much power and authority that we have in our voice as a woman, that we're
Yeah.
impacting generations because we're birthing generations and
Hmm.
generations and generations. So that was really, really good.
Thank you so much.
I love you from the
I
top of my
love
heart.
you.
I'm so serious.
Thank
I cannot even thank you so much for spending the last 51 minutes with me. I really appreciate it because I know you're so busy. I'm serious. So
It didn't
nah,
feel like 51 minutes. I'll tell you
I
that.
know.
Probably because
I
I was rambling, but it went fast,
Everyone
fast.
always says that, but I just think when you're talking about things that you really love, it just goes fast. You just don't even realize how fast it goes. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate you. I know that you're on social media. I don't feel like you're too big with social media,
Mm-mm.
but I know because I was looking for you. I couldn't tag you or nothing because I said I don't even know what the girl's name is. I
Yeah.
don't even know what her name is. But just let everyone know what you have coming up because you did mention your published I think you said your paper article, something you said in the beginning. So if you would like for people to follow you on social media, please share your social media platforms. If not, could you please just tell us what you have coming up?
People are welcome to find me on LinkedIn. It's probably the platform that I use the most, honestly. I'm on LinkedIn as Shedia Lauger. My first name Shedia, my last name Lauger. Happy to connect with you there in that space. Things that are coming up for me. I'm currently doing a school supply, a book bag and school supply collection for to benefit Antigua and Barbuda, which is a country that I did my primary school education. It is I have dual citizenship with the United States and Antigua and Barbuda. And so this is the third year that I'll be collecting those items and taking
Wow.
them, shipping them to Antigua to give away to children in St. Mary's South. It's the village of my maternal grandmother and my maternal grandfather. And
Wow.
so it is a blessed opportunity to be able to give to children free school supplies, remove that burden from their parents.
Yeah.
And so you're able to find that through international
LinkedIn.
witness and yeah, through LinkedIn. I will be on LinkedIn, so you'll see it there. But that's what's coming up for me. That's something that I'm working very diligently on. And then some other projects that really you'll see when they come out. They require me for
Mhm.
me to, I'm still in the lab. I'm still in the lab.
Okay. Nope,
With,
that sounds good. Follow that girl on LinkedIn, y'all.
follow me on LinkedIn,
LinkedIn
please.
has free accounts. Just sign up for LinkedIn and follow her. You know, it's crazy. I don't even think people are. It's weird, not weird, but weird. But I don't even think people like access LinkedIn. I'm like, LinkedIn. I really scroll on LinkedIn. Like,
Yeah, it's good
it is
stuff.
I love
It's good
LinkedIn. It
stuff.
is. I love LinkedIn. This is how I find out I feel like a lot of information that I didn't
Yes,
know. It's funny, I literally just participated in a, just prior to this today, in a teacher study with the Ed Trust from DC, like, but it was
yes.
on LinkedIn. I mean, I got an email about it, but it was on like, so again, I get a lot of my good information off of LinkedIn. So if y'all don't have a LinkedIn account, sign up for LinkedIn so y'all can follow Shadia.
Yes,
Shadia,
yes.
I am so grateful. When I say
Thank
grateful, I'm
you.
honored. I'm grateful. I'm not even joking. This is not going to be your last time. I don't know what we're going to talk about next time, but we're going to figure it out. This is absolutely not going to be your last time on here again. You're going to be a three-time champion now. But no, I really appreciate you. I'm so serious from the top of my heart. I love you. I love your family, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to visit us tonight. I hope these people that were listening or on the replay that our cousins got something because I know I got a lot out of what you said. Like literally. What is
We're
what
overachievers.
that's what like this for overachievers. I'm cracking up. Get out of here. But no, it was really good. I really do appreciate you. So thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you so very much for sharing your platform and for all the goodness that you've shared with me. I'm going to put in my gratitude journal tonight. You're going to have a few pages, I know for sure. So,
Oh no,
very good.
I adore you. I'm not even joking. Um, thank you again. All right, guys. I'm done because I gotta go write this IEP. I told you
Yes,
that.
go
But
get
anyway,
in
I know, right? Next Monday, I'm super excited. I have my friend Kayla Baxter on. Next month, you know how the Lord do me. He just give me something real quick. But we're literally talking about the journey of growth for the entire month of April. So I'm really excited. So please do not forget to log in next Monday at 8 p.m. Can I
I'll
change
be
the
on.
time, producer? No. I'm like, can I change the time? No. 8 p.m. When school lets out, I will be changing the time. Now I'm just playing. See me back here next Monday at 8 p.m. For the month of April, we're definitely talking about the journey of growth, and my producer will be sitting on the other side of the camera with me, y'all.
My favorite.
So thank you so much again for tuning in. And again, thank you, Dr. Shadia. I really appreciate your presence, y'all. See y'all next Monday at 8 p.m.